just give you guys a quick introduction to Marquee 360. So we're a Microsoft Gold Partner for cloud productivity, project and portfolio management and collaboration. We have locations in the US, Canada, and Europe. Our founders are from Microsoft, so they know a lot about the Microsoft environment. All the solutions are very familiar with, so they know how to best utilize those to get the best out of your investments. We focus a lot on digital transformation using the 360 platform. We also use the work management and Power Platform to bring together all those solutions to give you a seamless integration and collaboration with you and your team. We like to work from implementation from start to finish. So when we do an implementation, we always give our customers advice in the beginning, work on the technical side, and then we work with you through adoption and change management and even support services after that. So we like to see our customers have a lot of success. That's when we're successful. So we work closely and give all of our best advice and like to see you guys be successful as well. And like I said, I do have Mia Reed on the call. She's going to go through the technical side of the demo and talk to you guys about Teams. So I'm going to pass it over to her.
Mia, you're muted.
Hi.
There we go.
Can everyone see my screen? I think I started sharing.
Yes.
Okay, great. So today we're going to talk about the basics of Microsoft Teams. We're going to focus on creating teams and then building those teams up by adding members to our teams and adding channels to the team. And what we'll do is start out with a very brief orientation to Teams, just to get a look at how it's set up. So right now I'm logged into Teams, and what you'll see, there are two main parts I want to show you in the very beginning. I know some people on this call have been using Microsoft Teams, but I know other people are new to it and maybe using Skype for Business or something else at this point. And I want to make sure that you have the basics of kind of navigating around before we get in and start creating some teams. So what we'll see along the top here, and I'm using Teams in the browser, there's also a desktop application. Because I'm in the browser, I see the Microsoft App Launcher here and the Teams title. But the part that we'll all have in common in the browser and in the desktop app, first is going to be the search bar. And this is an interactive search. So if I know that I'm part of a project team that has the word park in it, I can type in park and start to use the search results or click on the search results to access that team. I can also start conversations with people in the organization by typing in a name, and then I can start that conversation with them to chat. This search bar also works as a command bar, and if you type in a / here, you get a lot of quick commands that you can use. I most often use this if I'm going to step away, so I might just say that I'm going to be right back, and then that'll change my status for me. And then I'll come back here to switch it back to available when I return. The other part of this top menu that I wanted to show you is the profile settings here. So you can change your picture or set your status here. And then there are other personal settings on this list as well. So this top bar is something that'll be really important when you first start using Microsoft Teams. In addition to that, there's this bar on the left, and this bar on the left is a navigation bar that is composed of different buttons. We'll take a quick review or a quick look at some of the buttons on the left, and then we're going to spend most of our time concentrating on the Teams area here. So if we start at the top and work our way down, the first button that we'll see here is the Activities button. And what that'll do is it'll let me know when things have happened that include me. So I just got added to, or I just got an activity alert here. And this is letting me know that someone mentioned me in a comment. So clicking on the items in my activity feed will actually take me to that item where I was mentioned or where somebody added me to a team or anything like that. So as I scroll through my activity feed, I can see that I got added to this team called Contoso. I can see that I was mentioned in this chat. And then I can kind of use this as a way to navigate through Teams. As we continue to kind of work our way down, we'll see there's a chat area also. So this is very much like Skype for Business. I can chat with people within the organization here. And one of the nice things about this chat is that I can also attach documents. You'll see in this type a new message box here, there are all of these options below where I can choose to do additional things besides just send a text message. So I can attach a document. I can insert smiles and Giphies and schedule meetings from here as well. In this conversation, you'll see that I did have somebody share a document with me. And the nice thing about sharing documents here is that this document will automatically get saved to the Files tab of our chat. From here, we can use the ellipses to edit this item or this document in Teams, in the desktop app or the browser, and then we can collaborate on this document. So in this scenario, I might want to collaborate with this PWA account, and then when we're ready, we might share that with a bigger team. The next button down is the Teams button. We're going to come back here because we're going to spend a lot of time here today. If we keep going down, we'll see the calendar button is next, and this is syncing with the Outlook calendar. So all of the meetings that I have on my Outlook calendar display here as well. And then you can see I can start a new meeting from here or schedule a new meeting. And this is a lot like scheduling a meeting in Outlook. I've got a schedule assistant here, so I can start to enter in users and then compare schedules. On the details area here, I can add a title for the meeting, add optional participants, set a recurrence pattern. And the part that's kind of one level up from Outlook when it comes to scheduling meetings in Teams is that I can tag a channel. We'll come back to this and look at that a little bit more once we build a team and add some channels, but this is a really interesting option here. If I create a meeting and I tag a channel with it, what'll happen is that when that meeting starts, everybody on that team will get notified and they'll have an option to join. So we'll take another look at that later. I'm going to discard this one and we'll create a new one together when we start to look at teams together. There's an area where I can make calls. So I'll have contacts and a history here. Voicemails, of course. If somebody leaves me a voicemail, I can click here to either play the message or read the transcribed message. And then as we work our way down, we'll see there's a files button here. And here's where I can see the recent files that I've worked on. So this is a quick way to get to your files. And then there's different file areas here too. So I can see the OneDrive files and general Microsoft Teams files as well. There's an ellipses menu here where you can add other apps for yourself here. That's a topic that we'll discuss during a future webinar, so I won't go into adding a bunch of apps right now. And then as we work our way down through here, we'll see there's a help button on this left navigation menu as well. And this has a lot of great help topics and training videos. One thing I like about this is the training videos are all really short and to the point, so that makes it easy to digest the different topics there. So let's jump in and actually start to build a team and then start to add to that team by adding members and adding channels to the team. So I'm going to start out by clicking on the Teams button on the left menu. What I'm seeing here now are a list of the teams that I already belong to. So these are all the teams that I belong to already listed under your teams. And what I'm going to do from here is start to manage teams. I can either create a team when I'm starting out, or I can also join an existing team. To do that, on this Teams panel at the bottom, there's a link where it says join or create a team. So I'm going to click there. And I really only have two options here. First option is to create a team, and the second option is to join an existing team. If there's a private team and the team owner has shared a code with me, I can enter that code here to join a team. Otherwise, any team that's public is going to be listed here. And then all I need to do to join that team is just click the Join Team button. So just like that, I see joined here, and I can also see that this retail team is now showing on my list of teams. So it's really quick to join an existing team. Remember, only the public teams will display here though. If there's a private team where there's confidential information being stored or shared, the team owner will have to invite you to join that team. What we're going to do is create a team. So I'm going to click on the Create a Team button here. And we've got a couple of different options. We can create a team from scratch, which is what we're going to do today. I'd like to walk you through the steps of creating a team from scratch, but there are also some shortcuts that you can take. So when I'm building a team, I'm going to leave here briefly. Each one of these teams that I have listed here is composed of different channels. So when we're building a team in Microsoft Teams, the team refers to a group of people with a common purpose. So in this example, the one that I'm clicked on now, Adopt Office 365, this would be a group of people that have some interest in adopting Office 365. Below this team, or with every team, the general channel is automatically created, and then additional channels can be created along with that. Sometimes the channels represent different topics or different subgroups within a team. So what we'll see here is that we've got these different channels that are added to these different teams. And that's part of what we'll want to consider when we're building a team.
Hey,
So
Mia,
yes.
really quick, we have a question. If they don't see a team, would that be a permissions thing, or should everyone have it?
It may be that the team that you're looking for is private and not public. What I would do in that case is contact one of the owners of that team. They can either send an invite to the team for you and add you to that team, or they might be able to generate this code and send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So when we go to create a team, we've got these options. So one option is to create a team from an existing group or team. Let's take this Adopt Office 365 team, for example. Let's say that this adoption of Office 365 went really well, and now we're going to start to adopt something new in addition to Office 365. So let's say that we're going to create a new team, but we want to keep the same structure that we had for the Adopt Office 365 team and just build on that. What we could do is choose to build a team from an existing group or team. And it could be a Microsoft 365 group or a team that's in Teams. What I'm seeing here are a list of the teams that I am a part of. And then all I would need to do is kind of make a couple of adjustments here. So if we're going to adopt a project online here, I can adjust the title. I can add a description for this team. I can set privacy, so I can make it private, which means that it will not display on this list in my background for you to join. Or I can make it public so that anyone in the organization can join it. And then below, I can choose if I want to copy over the tabs that exist in the Adopt Office 365 team already. I can copy over the settings, the apps, and even the members of that team if I choose to. I'm going to back out of this and not create this new team. I'm just going to go back. And this is something important to know in the beginning when you first start to create teams, that there is that back button so you can back out of whatever you're exploring. One of the nice things to explore also when it comes to creating teams is creating a team from a template. So as we scroll down, we'll see that there are a bunch of different templates in here. So Adopt Office 365 is actually the template that I use to make this Adopt Office 365 team here. But when I'm creating a team from a template, what I'll see is that there are already some channels that are existing there. So this would save me, using the template would save me from having to add those templates on my own or those channels on my own. I would be able to just use what's already here as part of this template. So today, I don't want to take any shortcuts. I want to make sure that you see where to add those channels for yourselves. So we're going to build a team from the ground up. The first thing we'll have to choose is whether the team we're building is private or public. So private means that people will need permission to join, and then public, anyone in our organization can join that team. So I'm going to give the team a name. It's optional to give a description as well. And then I'm going to click create. So creating the team is pretty simple. You can see the confirmation on my screen. That team is already created. And I know this part in the background's a little bit faint, but you can already see the team and the general channel that got created along with it on my list of teams. It's also giving me an option now to add members to this team. So I could add a member to this team right now by typing in a name and selecting a person. And then you just click add. I can choose whether Josh is going to be a member of this team or a co-owner of this team along with me. You don't necessarily have to have all of the details of your team ironed out at this point when you're first creating the team. There are multiple other ways where you can add people to your team and add more channels to your team. So right now we've just got me and one other person that's on this team. So we've got our team here, MS 101 series, and it's got the general channel. Before we start to look at the channels and start adding more people, I want to just take a quick moment to talk a little bit about organizing your teams. I usually keep my teams in alphabetical order so that I can quickly locate a team. And to do that, what I'll normally do is I'll just drag and drop the team. Sometimes also, if there's a team that I'm working on daily and it's the main team that I'm interacting with, I might drag that just all the way to the top so that I don't have to go searching for it. Another thing that you can do, and I guess you can imagine that at some point you might start to have a large number of teams that you belong to. Sometimes, the team is working and your portion of the work has decreased and you might not need it as often. What I do in that scenario is I'll use this ellipses menu and I'll hide that team. Notice at the bottom of the list of teams I have here, there's a little section called Hidden Teams, and you can expand that to view the teams that you've hidden. So I just hid this MS 101 series. That's the team that we're going to work on today, so I don't want to keep that hidden. On the ellipses menu, I now have an option to show that team. All right, well, we've got it showing again at the top here. So that's just a little tip about organizing your teams and being able to quickly locate the teams that you belong to here. The next thing that we'll do, we have the team here. Remember, the team is more of a collection of people. All right, the actual collaboration for the team happens on the channels. So you'll see that here the general channel, which was automatically created along with the team, has these tabs along the top. So posts, files, and wiki are going to display here. The posts tab, we're going to spend a little bit of time here because this is the main place where you can collaborate with the team. But at this first stage of having our team, our newly created team, there are a couple of options at the top of the post tab that are pretty helpful. First, I can add more people here. And if I click this button, I see the same window that I saw after I created the team. So essentially what I can do is I can start to type in a name and then add people to the team this way. And again, I can make somebody a co-owner of this team if I choose to. And I can just go through and add multiple people this way. All right. I can also create additional channels. So clicking this button will take me to a window where I can fill out channel information. There are multiple places where you can add people or add more channels. If we go over to our team on the Teams panel and click on the ellipses menu, we'll see there are a couple of options here. Notice that add channel is an option here. It's the same as clicking create more channels here. There's also an option to add member, which is going to open up that same window that we used to add Josh and Juan to the team earlier. In addition to these two options being listed on this menu, there's also a manage team option where we get to manage all of the team settings all in one location. So here we've got a list of members for this team. We've got these different sections along the top. So on this members section, I can see the owners. So that's me. I'm logged in as Marquee 360 user. And under members and guests, I can see the 2 users that I added earlier. From here, notice there's also this add member button. So if I want to start adding another member to the team, I can do that here. All right, and then I can choose if I'm going to make somebody a co-owner of this team along with me or adjust those settings as needed. I can remove people from the team also by using the X right here. When it comes to adding channels or modifying channels, there's a channels section here. I can see the active channels, which right now is just the general channel. And then I can also see the deleted channels if I had any. One of the things we'll do here is we'll add a channel to our team. So to create a channel, we have a little bit of information to fill in. We'll want to add in the channel name. We can set a privacy settings, so we can make this standard so that everyone on the team can see this channel, or we can make this a private channel. I'm going to make this a private channel just so you can see how that appears. Then I'm going to click next here. And then I can choose, who I'm going to add to this channel. I'm going to leave this, just skip it. So the private channel displays with this little indicator here that this is private. So on the ellipses menu, we've got these options to add members and add channels. Also at the top of the post tab, we have options to add members and channels here too. Once we get our team all set up and we add the right channels and we add the right people, well, it's time to start collaborating with everybody. A lot of that will happen on this post tab. So one of the things you can do here is start a conversation. You can start typing in a message. You can also mention people. And if I mention somebody by typing in @ and then selecting that user's name, what they'll see is that their activity section will light up for them, letting them know that they've been mentioned somewhere. Another thing that we can do here, you'll see all these buttons along the bottom. I can format this message so you can make it almost like an email with a subject line. There's also an option to post in multiple channels here. So right now this is posting or I'm writing this in the general channel. I can also go to select channels and then select the other channel that's part of this team. All right, so I've got my message here, and then when I'm ready to send, there's a send button down at the bottom. When it comes to replying to these messages, there are a couple things you can do. You can respond or react with one of these quick buttons. You can also respond maybe by attaching a file. Let's say that we're going to start working on a team document together. So I'm going to attach that document here. One of the things I like to do with Teams, if I'm going to share a document with other people in the team, I like to add it in Teams. And the reason for that is that any file that I upload to Teams and share with other people is going to save on the Files tab here. If we're looking at the bottom section here, we looked at formatting and attaching a document. We can also insert emojis and GIFs and stickers. Notice I can also schedule a meeting from here. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and send this document. So as a member of the team, whether it's an owner or a member, coming to this post tab, you can kind of get an idea of the activity for this team. I mentioned earlier you can schedule a meeting through here. On the top right, there's also a meet drop down. So I can schedule a meeting here. And as I mentioned when we were looking at the calendar tab earlier, what happens here is that the team is automatically tagged because I created this meeting from within that team. So what happens when I do this is that the notification of the meeting being created displays here on this post tab. So there are a lot of things that we can do along with this meeting. We might have a chat conversation about the agenda for this meeting before the meeting actually starts. And then during the meeting, if we decide to chat, that conversation will be captured here. And even after the meeting, if we decide to continue this chat conversation, that will be saved along with the meeting. To see the meeting details, we can click on the meeting here. Notice that there's a chat section here. And the best part about this is that if this meeting is recorded, then Microsoft Stream will automatically upload that recording to Teams. So anybody that is part of this team but was out of the office or was double booked and misses this meeting, they can catch up on the meeting details here. Another interesting way that we can share information with our team is we can send an email like we normally do, but we can copy the team. So I'm going to click on the ellipses menu for the general channel. And there's a get email address button there, or option. I'm going to copy this email address, and then I have an email that I've started already. I'll drag that over. Notice there's an attachment on this email. I'm going to go ahead and send it. And by copying the team here, what I'm doing is I'm saving all the contents of that email in Microsoft Teams. Okay. So here's the email that I just sent. It's now showing on the Pulse tab. So there's a lot that we can do to kind of stay in the loop with our team on this Post tab. If we look over at the Files tab, automatically any documents that I've saved or shared via email are going to be stored here. Depending on our team and what we're using it for, we might want to add other apps here. So if we wanted to add Tasks by Planner and To Do, we could go ahead and add that here, and we can use this to track tasks that are assigned to different people in the team. So there is a really long list of apps that you could possibly add here. We're not going to go through all of those, but you do have a fair amount to choose from that you can use with your, or to work with your team and keep everything in a central location. We only have a few more minutes left. There is one thing I wanted to bring up because a lot of times when we talk about this topic of creating teams and channels and adding people, a lot of people get concerned because it's possible that we could have a lot of duplicate teams out there. For example, you know, for run and maintain, it's possible that one person could create this run and maintain project, right, or team, and someone else might create a support project that should be part of that. We might have duplicates, and then in addition to that, we might have some inconsistencies or people create duplicate channels within these teams. One of the things I want to show you really quickly is a governance app that we've created to address that. So here, this is a Power App called the Teams Governance app, and it integrates with Microsoft Teams. What you can do here is instead of being able to create a team in Teams is create a request. I can specify an owner for a team. I can also start to add members to my team here. I can set this as a public or private team. You can also specify templates that you might want, similar to the templates that we saw when we were creating our team in Microsoft Teams. And then we can add in the team name and the description and other details. At the bottom, there's a create request button. And what happens here is that it gets sent to an admin team to approve or reject that request. All right, and then each user can kind of track their requests here on this page. So it's right. This was just about a half an hour. Are there any questions about anything that we've talked about today?
It looks like you covered everything, Mia. Oh, someone said this is helpful. Thank you. Good.
Well, if any other questions come up, or if there's anything you want to see in more detail, or maybe have a walkthrough through other areas, we do have some upcoming webinars, but also feel free to email us or ping us.
Also, the session is being recorded, so we'll be sending that out, and also a survey so that we can tailor our upcoming webinars to what's helpful for you guys, because that's our goal here. Also, check us out on any of our social media channels. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and we post a lot of our content, all of our recordings to those. So check those out when you guys have a chance. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you all.